is very, very detailed. And so I can't imagine how long it must have taken him to choreograph the whole show with the amount of dancing that there is for the ensemble alone, if he was this detailed with it. So we'll watch this clip. It's about 4 minutes, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, this is the last clip of the day. So this is the Hamilton choreographer.
Throughout the show, there's many times where Hamilton sort of goes into his own head, speaks about his fears, speaks about his desires, his needs. And there's a monologue that says, "I imagine death," and he does it several times in the show. And in my head, what I wanted to capture was like the pause of time and do a filmic close-up to almost like see what's in the back of his head. So as they're marching into the Battle of Yorktown, his first time in total command of his battalion, what we see is that his group of marching troops sort of freeze, and they bring to life this lyric that he says. So right away, a thing that's very important is that we stop time so that the audience knows that this gesture is very stylized. So it goes 6, 7. I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. This is where it gets me. So this position right here is important to me. It's the sense of pride that says, I believe in something so much, you can put a knife to my neck and I'm not going to change how I feel. So from memory, up in the back of my head, we have this very vicious, violent position where now he's not afraid of facing death. So we have 6, 7. I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. This is where it gets me. On my feet, enemy, head of me, right there. If this is the end of me, this was a hard move for us because it looks like I'm tying my bow tie. So I knew that I just wanted it to be simple, like it's over. So we have this little here. When I was making this show, I have 2 kids, and one of my favorite things to do is spend the end of my day, like right before the kids' bedtime, watching the Yankees. And so that time that I have with my son, like, is really, really important. This lyric is, at least I have a friend with me. And so this is sort of channeling that idea. So from here, I take the baseball behind my back into my batting, into my glove. Instead of the pitch, it goes all the way to point to my rifle, which gets held up over my head. So it's equating the sense of that weapon's going to save me, and that idea is as important as my best friend by my side. So it goes, if this is the end of me, at least I have a friend with me, weapon in my hand, command. So it's like the rank, my epaulets, the uniform, but also this musculature of being totally in charge. Command. And then head of me, So I'm in marching formation behind him. He starts to think about his wife and the fact that she's going to have a baby. The music doesn't do this, but I always heard a heartbeat, so it goes boom, boom. And so that's sort of reflected in the music, but for me, what I needed the cast to do was feel that heartbeat. So right away, we have a roll, and it goes to a contraction that starts to point to my head, as if all I'm thinking about is what's in my head. So it goes 6, 7, and boom, boom. He's talking about his wife. To the other side, boom. And so what this is saying that the thing that's in the back of my head is ruling me. So this memory, this thought is way over here. We grab it, we put it down, and Eliza is right over our head on the balcony. We turn, and now this is where the fantasy, well, not so much fantasy, but the stop time of his thoughts starts to come back into real speed. The lyric is, we gotta go, we gotta get the job done. So when we were working on this, in this section we actually made up right down the street at a dance studio here in Harlem. It was about saying, how can we find a hip-hop step that feels like march? And we sort of went to this place. And right away we flip down the clothes as if we don't care about anything but ourselves. So it has a real street sensibility. So it goes 6, 7, 8, 1. We gotta go, we gotta get the job done. We push out with our foot. Boom, boom, and throws down, and that's what takes us into formation. So the whole thing looks like this.
Cool, right? I think that clip is so interesting because it shows a choreographer's real thought process behind each movement. And what did you find interesting about that? I found most interesting that little movement when he's talking about his own son and his own life and how he loves spending time with his kids, which reminds him of baseball. So he put like a baseball movement into Hamilton, which has nothing to do with baseball, but it goes by like that, and so you don't really catch on to it, but it means so much to the choreographer and to the dancers doing it, right? So sometimes there's so much more to what you see in a dance than what you get at a first take, right? There's like all this, like choreographers like him are so thoughtful about everything that they do, what everything means, to tell the story well with such detail and intricacy. I think that's so fascinating. So, let's review. Today we talked about Martha Graham, who is the mother of modern dance, and we did our modern dance warm-up. We talked about Bob Fosse, and he is the father-ish of what we think of as jazz dance in musical theater. He had a great, huge influence. And we did a jazz dance, our in, out, in dance, in his style. And then we talked about Justin Peck, who choreographed Carousel. And we talked about Andy Blankenbuehler, who choreographed Hamilton. So I hope that you gleaned some information from this. I'm sorry if you had computer trouble today, and or whatever day you see this week. Have a great week. I'm praying for you to stay healthy and safe. And I love you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.